Today we're going to be talking about why MacBooks are just the best. Let's get into it. So I use a MacBook Pro 13-inch every single day and I absolutely love this laptop. Now, yeah, I was a Windows user the whole of my life and, as of these past 2 years, I've been a Mac user. And I absolutely loved it. I even kept Mac when I was on Android and when I went back to iPhone. Now, don't be wrong, Mac definitely integrates a lot better with iPhone, but in terms of it being a key part of the ecosystem, most of Android's apps are on the web, so you can actually use the MacBook with Android and iPhone very well. Now, one of the reasons why I love MacBooks so much is because of their build quality. I absolutely love it. I think they're built so well, so rigidly, so much better than any Windows laptop that it's honestly really, really good. I like being able to just know that my laptop can go in a bag without the risk of the screen snapping, cracking, without the risk of the chassis bending. I absolutely love it. Now, don't be wrong, there are definitely Windows laptops that are built well, and are built to withstand drops and, going in your bag all the time. But you just don't get that on, the more budget-friendly Windows laptops. I've gone from being on a cheap Windows laptop all the way over to a MacBook Pro. Now, this is going to be the case for a lot of people because I think a lot of parents buy their kids, a cheap Windows laptop as their first laptop, something they can use just to do schoolwork, watch the internet, go on the internet. And then when they're a bit older, for me, I needed something a bit more powerful and something that worked and was going to last for a good couple of years. And that is exactly what I got with this MacBook. Now, in my opinion, I personally think MacBooks are built to last. I think they're, really, really well built, and they're really well built internally as well. Now, what I mean by this is the batteries last a long time, the SSDs don't fail, and the screens look fantastic. The charging speeds are just perfect on this MacBook Pro. I really enjoy using it. Now, I still plan to use this laptop for a good another couple of years. I don't use it for anything intense other than YouTube video editing. Now, obviously, if things in the future pick up, then I would obviously get the more powerful MacBook. But yes, I would still stick with MacBooks. Even though they're expensive, they're worth the price, in my opinion. You don't get this type of experience in any other laptop. You don't get the amazing battery life on the go. You don't get the performance on the go. And you just don't get the performance for all the years to come. On my old Windows laptops, after a year, the performance just wasn't as good as it once was. And I definitely think that's something to do with, Apple want their products to last. As much as people don't think that, I genuinely think that Apple have built this to last. They know that these MacBooks are a lot of money, and they know that people are only going to buy these every couple of years. So they might as well make them as good as possible so then people want to keep buying them. And who knows, even possibly get more expensive ones. Get ones that, work better. Ones that are designed for what they do. Because a lot of people will start with an old MacBook because they are so good. Now, I have the Space Grey MacBook Pro and I love the colour, I love the way it looks, and I've been wanting this type of MacBook for ages. Now, a lot of people did not like the design of this laptop. They didn't like it only had USB-C and a headphone jack. But personally, this is my favourite design. I really like the thinness, I like the USB-C ports, I like having just the one headphone jack, I like keeping it simple. For me at the moment, I don't need the HDMI port, I don't need the SD card reader, but this has everything I need. And when you open it, it's slick, it's smooth, it's quick. And I love that about this. I love that everything works and it all works well. Now, integration with the iPhone is honestly impeccable as well. I absolutely love this thing. I love how well it works with my iPhone. And yes, you have messages, you have FaceTime, you have iCloud photos, and then you just have copy and pasting in between different devices, taking phone calls on a MacBook. It's honestly really, really good. And obviously, the main thing is you have AirDrop. And AirDrop is a really big feature. A lot of people don't think it is, but a lot of people use it more than you think. Now, one of my favorite things about MacBooks is that I can unlock this device with my Apple Watch. Now, I've got my Apple Watch on now, and it honestly works really well. If I am literally sat on my bed, it will unlock and it will just be ready for me open. Because personally, I think the fingerprint sensor on a laptop doesn't make as much sense as Apple think it does. Having Face ID on a MacBook Pro would be the best option because it just looks directly at your face and it can scan. But this Apple Watch takes out the need for it. Now, obviously, yes, you have to be integrated in the Apple ecosystem. You have to, have the Apple Watch in the first place. You have to have an iPhone to have an Apple Watch. So yeah, you have to be 3 devices deep to be able to get all this integration to work. But is it nice? Yes, and I imagine if you have an iMac or a Mac Pro or a Mac Studio, it's even nicer because your watch just unlocks it for you without you having to get the ridiculously expensive keyboard with the fingerprint sensor on it. Now, is all this worth it, for a device that now at minimum costs £1,500 to get into? Now, if you have the money, it's a very easy thing for me to say, yeah, go out and buy it. But I've also got to take into account, this is a base model. This is 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. Now, is 256 gigabytes of storage, 8 gigs of RAM enough? No. Especially the storage situation. In 2024, a lot of people are going to need at least 1 terabyte of storage. Now, I have to work with what I've got. I've got an external hard drive and I've got iCloud storage. But a lot of people won't have that. A lot of people will be constantly deleting stuff, circulating stuff around the device, adding stuff, deleting stuff. And do I think £1,500 to get into the, M3 MacBook Pro is reasonable? I would say so if it started at, 1 terabyte storage. But it starts at 512. And personally, I don't think that's a good thing. I think that we need to have more storage. We need to have 1 terabyte as a minimum. Because on the iPhone now, we're finally getting 256 gigabytes of storage as a minimum, and that's perfect for a phone. But for a MacBook, having the same amount of storage that I have in my phone, it's kind of crazy because I use this way more for loads of different use cases. And I personally think that, laptops now should all be minimum 1 terabyte. Does this mean that you can't get the base model? No, it doesn't. If you're only using this, at an office and, you plug it in to a USB-C port and it hooks directly up to the monitor, yeah, by all means get an external SSD because it's not going to matter. If you're constantly using this at a desk, it's not going to matter. But when you take this thing portable and you go out on the go, having to plug in a hard drive everywhere you go is a pain. And it does just mean that, it's an extra thing to carry, it's an extra thing to plug into one of your USB-C ports. And now we don't want that. We want a laptop that's just got everything in it, and that in the future, if we want to, we have that extra space for storage. Now, Apple makes storage so expensive, and that's why a lot of people don't get it. But I do believe that Apple in the future will make these 1 terabyte, but it's going to take a while. Apple are very stubborn when it comes to, making their storage options cheaper, because they want people to, level up until they get to the M1 Max, and then they've got basically a full loadout of stuff. The M3 Max is a really powerful chip, but it's not going to be needed for everyone. And personally, I think if you look on the second-hand market, maybe an M2 MacBook Pro or an M1 MacBook Pro, these are very, very good, and I'm sure you can find amazing deals on Amazon. I'll put some of the link in the description, and I'll also send a link to Apple Refurbish, where you can find them directly from Apple if you don't want to go through Amazon, because I understand not everyone wants to shop at Amazon, and they'd rather get it directly from Apple. Now, yeah, finding second-hand MacBooks at the moment is honestly amazing. They are so cheap for what they are. I mean, all these M1 processors and M2 processors are coming up, and they are coming in at a really cheap price. I'll put some on the screen of some nice, good deals for you to find. And if I find any amazing deals, I will also put them in the link in the description. The reason why I love MacBook Pros is the build quality, the software, the keyboard, the trackpad, the design, and the integration. And they're all the things I love about MacBooks. Now, if you have an opposing opinion and you prefer Windows laptops, I would love for you guys to comment in the comment section down below what you think. And if you have a Windows laptop, what Windows laptop you have. And also, if you have a MacBook Pro, which one do you have? Do you have an Intel one? Do you have an Apple Silicon one? Comment down below and, tell me what you think and what your stance on this whole debate is. But if you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. It's been Harry. I'm out. Peace.